Hey everyone, I'm AdamHarry with
JayArr.
and today we have the Imperial Nihilus Vigilus Defiant book.
That's right, it's the new campaign book for Warhammer 40k.
This is pretty exciting because this is an actual brand new style campaign book from GW, talking all about the Vigilus system and the planet, all the crazy stuff that's going on in there.
Yep.
This book has a ton of stuff in it. Today in this video, though, we are going to be focusing on the lore of Vigilus, what's going on
and what's taken us to where we are today.
Yeah. So let's go ahead.
Yeah.
Flip over here. JayArr, where are we starting, man?
Let's start with the table of contents for everyone, because can't do a video without showing off everything. So this is a massive book. It's about 200 pages. As you can see, you've got like a lot packed into this. There's about 46 pages of just straight up lore that talks about how did we get here. It starts with the Genestealer cults basically undermining Vigilus and takes us all the way to chaos. And you get the war zones, which has all of the rules for regions and campaign play and all that stuff. And then you get to the new faction rules, which are in 166, and they have all of the all the new stuff that you can use in your match play.
Pretty much everything that's released this entire year, and then maybe even a little bit before that. I mean, you don't start at Forgebane with the Necrons in the AdMech, but you could.
Right, you could.
You could start kind of from that point of view. Kill Team, all the way to Speed Freaks, to Tooth and Claw,
to Wake the Dead.
Wake the Dead. What was the other one that came out? I know I'm forgetting one of them, but all of the box releases led up to this point.
Exactly. And Vigilus Defiant ties all of that together.
Yeah.
It's really cool. There you can see there's a map of the galaxy about where everything is.
Yeah, and just real quick, I want to show this. Yeah. This is the galaxy, then it's focused in here, and then focused in here, and then that's the actual
planet. The planet, right? Yeah. So you kind of go like that. But you can see it's
this is called the Nachtmoon Gauntlet, right?
Yeah.
And that is the only, or one of the only known safe passages through the Cicatrix Malediction, which is the giant warp scar.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a big deal. This is kind of a big battle point. This is kind of a big, important place.
And it started becoming a big, important place even before there. So at Boiling Point kind of takes us through the history. This is where the Kill Team stuff comes in. Because before the Great Rift opened up, even Vigilus was infested with Genestealer cultists, right? And they were laying in wait for years, secretly planning to overthrow stuff, and quietly taking control of all of the necessary things. They talk about at Boiling Point, especially because Vigilus is like a wasteland planet.
Yeah, water's kind of a big deal.
And the Genestealer cultists seize control of the water processing plants.
Yeah, and they had seized control without anybody really knowing.
Yeah.
And
so the Kill Team stuff was all about the AdMech trying to stop the Genestealer cultists from doing exactly that, but they failed, and that's where the Space Wolves come in. But before that, the whole reason that conflict erupted was because of the Orcs.
Yeah, because the Orcs landed on the planet, and now they had this really fancy defense system. We're not going to get into all that,
right?
But it talks about it in the story that basically the Orcs couldn't penetrate the shields without it going really wrong. So the Orcs were like, you know what, we're just going to drive around the desert. And because of the Orc landing, the Orc water arriving, that spurred the Genestealer cults to kick into action.
Exactly.
So that's when
the cults of the Pauper Princes rose up in their hive sprawls and went into open warfare before they were ready to take over the whole planet entirely.
If they had given them another generation, maybe they would have totally taken them.
Right. So in a way, the Orcs saved Vigilus and are the real heroes of 40k.
Yeah.
But so all of that,
the Space Wolves come, and the Space Wolves are focusing on taking out the Genestealer cult,
exactly,
while the AdMech are focusing on dealing with the Orcs.
And the Militarum is there also fighting off the Orcs as desperate as they can. Now, interestingly enough, there's a weird warp storm that keeps the Space Wolves from arriving all at once and all in force, so they mostly just hunt down the Genestealer cults because they can't help deal with everything.
Which is why we got Tooth and Claw.
Right. And then in Wake the Dead, the first vanguard of Ultramarines to arrive are scythed down by some vengeful Eldari, right?
Yeah.
They saved the world from being overthrown by Chaos cultists who surprise, surprise, Chaos cultists were also present
Also
on
on the
Vigilus.
planet, of course.
But a band of Asuryani went in and like assassinated the guy that would have converted the whole planet to Chaos worship.
Right.
Or Gene Stealer.
The Imperial Astral Militarum guys just saw them killing, quote, Imperial citizens.
And so they killed a bunch of them. And then looking for vengeance, they came back and are like, we're going to take all of our spirit stones that you stole, and we're going to kill everyone.
Yeah.
So they did, and that made things get bad enough so that now Papa Smurf, Marnius Calgar himself, is coming to Vigilus.
Has he been demoted from Papa Smurf?
I think he's still Papa Smurf.
I feel like he's still Papa Smurf.
Yeah.
Even though there's like Grandpapa Smurf.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's Robbie G, Grandpapa G,
Exactly. But interestingly enough, so the Gene Stealer cultists haven't been wiped out, right?
Yeah.
So out of all of that, they are resilient, and like they know that they can't beat the Space Marines in open combat.
Yeah.
So they're proving to be like a resilient foe who are kind of holding out.
They're pretty smart too. We were talking about this earlier. They're a lot less Dirk Dastardly, and a lot more like Bane.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, they're smart. The Gene Stealer cults are not cartoon clown villains. Like they're actually a threat on this planet. Like they plan ahead. There's a part where they talk about they take a bunch of their Gene Stealer cult genetic material and dump it in the planetary water supply to try and infect more people in a faster way. It's very Dark Knight.
Yeah.
With Bane and everything. So it's just it's interesting the way they went about that.
And then on the other side of the planet, you're getting like everyone showing up for this fight. The Imperium is dumping massive amounts of resources into this. So in addition to the Ultramarines who've shown up, when the Orcs kind of are, because they're out there having their speed Y and they're doing all the crazy death races, but they're also being mobilized by Goth leadership who are pushing to try and take over the planet, right? So they're laying siege to cities, which is where
because the planetary shield falls,
right?
Because of that crazy warp storm,
right? And so spurred on by like Gaz's big desire to have like one grand wah to unite everyone, right? A lot of the Orc leadership is kind of like surging out for more than just racing around and blowing each other up.
Yeah.
That's where the Imperial Fists come in, right?
Yeah.
So them and the Crimson Fists, they drop in to reinforce massive attacks.
I think there's some Black Templars that show up too.
There are.
Because those are all Sons of Dorn, so they all kind of like work. You got each other's back.
They all hang out, band together. They bring a bunch of Imperial Knights with them and basically lead this charge to take on these massive like stompas that the Orcs have constructed. And there's this like titanic clash. I guess not actual Titan thing.
Well, the Titans actually get wiped out by the Gene Stealer cultists with the Void Bomb, but that's a whole
other
story.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's a lot of really cool stuff that happens on here.
And so the Imperial Fists and the Black Templars especially lead the charge out into the scrap cities, which the Orcs have kind of made, and where they've been manufacturing these stampas and all kinds of other gargants.
But then we also have the Dark Angels show up, because if you got Orcs racing in the desert, you know who else is really fast? Ravenwing on bikes.
Yeah.
So the Ravenwing show up to go try to track down some of the faster moving elements of the Orc Walk. So you've got this giant convergence of all of these different Marine chapters coming here.
Yeah.
Because this planet is so pivotal, the Imperium is like, we have to defend this. And we can't have another Cadia situation here, guys.
And in order to take on the Orc threat, it's not just Ravenwings. There's also White Scars on bikes as well. So like White Scars are there, Ravenwing are there. The Imperial Fists, the Crimson Fists are there, the Black Templar are there, the Ultramarines are there. That's 6 different chapters of Space Marines who have all, and this is all before Chaos like shows up in force.
Yeah.
But then Chaos shows up in force. So we get to sort of the end game here, right? Which is where Vigilus Defiant takes us up to. We have a new Doom, which is what talks about the last like tipping point in the war here. So the Imperium is hanging on to Vigilus as best as they can, but a whole bunch of strange like warp anomalies start happening in the skies above Vigilus.
Yeah.
And Calgar is meeting with the members of the Vigilus Senate, and they're looking at the anomalies that are kind of showing up, haunting the highest spires of the hives around Vigilus. And that's when chaos shows up. It's not, they see like as all of the hive spires defenders have been slain. Like they go to look at what's been going on because there's all these weird like warp things.
Right.
They find that the tips of each of the citadels around the planet have been claimed by an airborne host, and there's blasphemous text that's been scrawled in blood on every spire across the world. It's not orcs, it's not gene stealer cults, it's not even the Drukhari, who have been there sort of murdering people, but
of course,
not in numbers enough that it matters. But it is the Black Legion itself that has come. Raptors, Warp Talons, and Helldrakes have been following in Harken Worldclaimer, whose voice echoed across the planet, across the entire planet, as he basically claims it for chaos.
Yeah.
And he takes his cursed Hell Spear and plunges it into the surface of the world.
Kind of claim it like a flag.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this is a crazy, crazy thing, and that's kind of where the story stops for now.
Right, but this is
just the beginning. This is the first half, essentially. We also forgot to mention the Rogue Trader, the events of Rogue Trader.
Oh, yeah,
that whole kill team section stuff.
That is in here as well.
Happens in here too.
We skipped right
because
over
there's
that.
a part where the Gellerpox infected are actually infecting some of the hive spires and stuff like that. This part. Yeah. So
in one of the hives, the Gellerpox infected are there, and
so you basically you can see how all of the releases of the box games up to this point are all wrapped up in Vigilus.
Yes.
This is just going to be a massive, massive war zone.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and skip over to the war zone section and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
We'll dive into the rules just a little bit here with the different war zones. This section right here goes over all of the different war zones. And not only are these really interesting to read about, they're also, later on in the book, they do have rules to fight in these different type of areas, which is pretty fun.
It is. So they basically give you all of the tools you
thematically
need.
to fight in these zones.
You can make a map, right, of Vigilus from the different war zone rules that we're seeing here, and you can use them to fight the various battles.
This section is pretty cool. The forces of Imperium, just from a historical type of standpoint, is interesting.
Right.
This reminds me a lot of the Armageddon Codex from way back in the day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because this section here, if you were looking to start an army or make an army based off of a force that was actually here in the conflict, you can flip through these sections, and there's one. We'll focus on the Imperium one here, but there's one for the Eldar. There's one for the Orcs, the Gene Stealer Cult. There's all of these, but you can see all of the different people factions that are in here. We've got the Hyperia Guard detachments here. You've got the Sisters of Battle are here too. Armored Elements.
You've got the Dirkden Reclamation Group, which has a lot of like volunteers and stuff, and then there's the Dontoria Sprawl Guard, which it has like the Mordians there. The Mortwell Reserve includes the Cadians.
There's a lot of
Catechins.
Cadians that actually showed up here too from Cadia. Actually,
right.
After it blew up, they kind of were like, "Hey, we want to move in."
Just there's a lot of like Death World places.
Another thing that they talk about, this is kind of a big deal too, is the Rubicon Primaris. This is the point of no return, basically.
Right.
We're not going to go over it here, but this section's a pretty big deal. This talks about how Calgar became a Primaris
and what it means for the rest of the stuff. And they talk.
Speaking of Primaris, we also get another look at all the Adeptus Astartes factions, and chapters that are actually participating in this event. So. I feel like that's probably a good spot to stop. You can see all the different, Imperial forces that are here.
Right. But now let's talk about.
We'll stop with that. But yeah, come back next time and we'll focus on the campaign rules.
So
yeah, I'm AdamHarry.
I'm JayArr.
We're from BoLS Souls.
Thanks for watching.
Click to subscribe. Check out more videos. And thanks for watching.